Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us on Morning at NTV. Priscilla Regina no longer is my name, and this morning we're having a conversation around the Nyege Nyege Festival, the dilemma that it has caused, right from the office of the Prime Minister down to the Parliament, the Speaker of the Parliament, Anita Among, and then under the bridge from so many other entities. And yet, Nyege Nyege is a collective in Kampala, Uganda. It promotes outsiders music, electronic music by African artists, #1. And it's been here since 2013 through the experts, then 2015. The last one was in 2019, and it brought in a lot of people, close to 30,000 in number. Now imagine what that interprets into the economy, not just for tourism, but also financially. It gets to boost the economy that is recovering from the whole COVID-19 pandemic, into the fuel pandemic, into the Russia-Ukraine pandemic, and so many other pandemics. It's not only just about music, by the way. This one festival that happens annually in Uganda has put Uganda on the map. In 2018, Uganda's main tourism trade group named the festival the best overall tourism event of the year, repeating that award in 2019. When you look at Resident Advisor and FSCT, which is known as FACT, it has named it as one of the world's best electronic festivals to talk about. Therefore, I do have people here to defend the cause of Nyege Nyege. I'm joined by Brenda Wilson, who is the Manager General at Talent Africa. Good morning to you, Brenda.
Good morning, Priscilla.
It's glad to have you here because you will be speaking from the horse's mouth.
It's an honor to be here.
Okay. I'm also joined by my usual suspect, Andrew Kaggwa, who is an arts journalist with the Daily Monitor, and he has done a story in the Daily Monitor, Scoop, about this very same festival, Nyege Nyege. Andrew, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to have you too.
Okay.
Oh, you're having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so let's start off with the article that you have written about Nyege Nyege. You did one for 2019. It was Nyege Nyege and business. Let's start from there. What did you highlight in that particular article?
Actually, when I was doing the business, the Nyege Nyege way, I think that was the title. At that time, I wasn't looking at the festival and the people in it, because, I mean, those ones are meant to make the money. But I was looking at how the festival creates an ecosystem around the people that live near Njeru, where it was happening, and the neighbors, the immediate neighbors, and of course, the others from far. And we looked at people that have hotels, one in Jinja, which were booked out for most of the festival season. Most of the hotels were booked out. It was very hard to find a hotel. It was hard to find a restaurant that had food at certain times. Beyond certain times.
Yeah.
Like whenever you went to Jinja at 3 looking for food, there were chances you're not going to find food.
But you would get a Rolex at least, eh?
And
so guys, Rolex.
Yes, you get a Rolex.
Okay.
And then when it came to the grounds, because the ground, I remember I used to have very many people that were surrounding it. Some are families. People made a lot of business. Some made it through parking, like someone would turn their compound into some sort of a parking lot. You get about 10 cars, and each car is paying about 50, which is a good fee for just a compound. Like how many times do you get a chance to make money off your compound? And then there were people like me who camped in people's compounds and were paying 50,000 a day for camping in people's compounds. There are those that turn their houses into like a mini restaurant. Like you just go to your kitchen, prepare food, and people are willing to buy it because there are many people that are there. So that's what that story looked at. And then, so by the way, that story answers many of the questions you were asking right now. That how does the festival benefit people around it?
The community.
Like it basically answers that question. And then today's story is basically one trying to understand why the festival is majorly misunderstood. And then it looks at Nyege Nyege beyond the 3 days or the 4 days that people usually go there. So in that, we look at the record label, that's Nyege Nyege Tapes, because it's a record label and it's also a studio. and it has recorded a lot of underground artists, underground Ugandan artists. At the moment, it spreads beyond Uganda. There are some that are from Kenya, and then there are some that are from TZ, Rwanda. And if you see the festivals that these people are performing at, we do not have Ugandan artists that are traveling as much as them. And many of them, guess what they are moving with? Some are moving with Lakaraka electronic, like you have the Lakaraka sound, but it has the electronic effect to it. Some are moving with Baksimba. So people are moving with these sounds and they are traveling across the world, literally pushing a Ugandan sound for free. And because, anyway, what we think is just the 4 days, we are like, no, this thing shouldn't happen. There's nothing that's adding to the economy, which is kind of perfect.
All right. We do have Talent Africa. Brenda, you're doing the management of this event. And in your previous management of this event, to answer the question of the impact on community, do share with us some stories that are highlighting the impact of Nyege Nyege in that period, 48 hours, 72 hours, to individuals within the communities that it has been in.
So we've been able to work with a young lady called Yolanda. She's been a part of the festival for as long as I can remember. She's benefited from this festival through various ways. She's a vendor, so she's able to make money. She's of Sudanese ethnicity, but she's grown up here, born and raised here, living in Kibuli. She's part of the festival with a group of other 4 women who are single moms raising their kids and also making a little bit of money through the festival. The one thing that she highlighted for me that really stood out was the ability of for her to make friends through the festival. It wasn't easy. We all know it's not easy to make friends as adults. So the fact that the festival smoothens that, she's been able to make to increase her social net worth through the festival. Another story that I think Andrew has also hinted on was the gentleman that was paying school fees for his children through the festival. During the course of the year, he used his land close to the venue to plant sweet potatoes, this and that, and sell those. But during the festival, he would clear the land and then use it as parking. And he talked to us and told us that in those 4 days, he would make enough money to take his kids to school for the rest of the year. And the other money that he would make from growing his crops was for just maintaining his home. So those are some of those stories that really, when we hear about them, they really touch our souls, and we're happy that the festival takes place and impacts people like this.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about the question of how it impacts tourism. There's been the question, like, yeah, people go there for 4 days and that's it. That's just a small drop in a pool of tourism, which is the biggest contributor, to the treasury of Uganda. So I'll start with you, Brenda. How has Nyege Nyege impacted tourism, not just in those 4 days, but over the span of, time after the 4 days?
People are able to book flights to our country. We receive over thousands and thousands of tourists from different destinations, not just our neighboring countries, from all over the world, flying into our economy, putting money into our economy, right? Booking hotels, feeding themselves. We estimate this value at around $4 million on an annual basis in 4 days. Secondly, we're able to, during the course of the festival, a series of people take out adventure sports. They take on series of travel packages from our partners in Tours and Travel. So it doesn't end at the festival. It goes way out of the festival as well.
Okay, all right. For you, Andrew, how does this speak into tourism?
One, we are a small country. We are not allowed to be a small mindset country. When people talk about tourism, you're not just talking about people coming here to see animals. You're literally talking about people coming to spend money from here. Like, even if someone comes from wherever they're coming from and they're coming for Nyege Nyege, and after Nyege Nyege, they do not go to see any mountain, anywhere. The mere fact that they've spent money in Uganda, like, they've spent money they're not going back with. They came with that money, but they spent it here. Like, that's already a big thing. So, one, the festival brings a lot of people to Uganda. Like, That's a fact.
You were telling us earlier that, was it 2019?
Yes.
When you were coming from South Africa and there
That's
was
actually what I
a
was
fleet.
Like, that's a fact because I've seen it, and I've seen it twice.
Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, 2019, I go to South Africa. I'd gone for a film festival because I'm an arts journalist. So I go for a film festival. We enjoy this festival, and I'm like, guys, I'm going to leave a bit early. And then, like, what? Because indeed I lied. I was like, yeah, family crisis. And so some friend of mine comes and says, don't tell me you're going back to Uganda for Nyege Nyege. So I tell him, yeah, I'm actually going for Nyege Nyege. It's like, we're coming together. So we left the festival when it was the 20 of us. We get to the airport. I was wearing my Ugandan jersey, so it was easy for people
Identification.
to notice where I was coming from. And that time we were in Durban, connecting to Johannesburg. So we leave Durban, we connect to Johannesburg. Very few people. By the time we reach Johannesburg, we find another contingent of people. We do not know where this came from. Some are South African, some are connected from other places. And so we are about 100 and something. We come to Uganda.
All coming for Nyege Nyege. The connecting factor being Nyege Nyege.
And funny thing is that late after arriving, they say we were gay. Like we were coming to spread gays. And I was like, wait, what? But anyway, so we came. And when we reached Entebbe, we found another contingent of people that came via other flights. And they were also here for the same festival. So for whoever wants to know if people actually come, people actually come. Like I've seen them. I saw it in 2018. In 2018, I was coming from Nigeria, and still I came with people from Nigeria that were coming for the festival. Mm-hmm. Like I've seen people come for the festival. Mm-hmm. And if I can say I've seen them in that one day when I've been coming back, I do not know what happens on the rest of the days, because I imagine people are always coming in. So yeah, people actually do come in.
Talent Africa, you have the statistics. People have come in from which countries?
We have a lot of people coming in from Kenya, from Rwanda, from Congo. We have a lot of people coming in from Europe. Earlier this year, we had a lot of requests from South Africa and the US. And it's overwhelming at some points, but we gladly accept it, and we welcome all the requests to visit our country through the festival. Okay,
all right. So we did have the Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, calling a closed-door meeting with organizers, as well as the line ministries, and they were just trying to get a better understanding of Nyege Nyege. The conclusion from that meeting is that they allowed it to go on, reason being that so many people, especially foreign investors, had made reservations and bookings, which cannot be altered at the last minute. So for that reason, they will let it go on. This is not the first time we have seen Nyege Nyege appearing on the floor of Parliament and being discussed by leadership or government for that matter. 2019 was the same case. Why is this happening twice in a row?
It actually surprises us as well. In 2018, we were able to iron out all of the misunderstandings and confusion, and we were given a set of guidelines and rules that will govern the festival, which we are enforcing vehemently. And in 2019, we had a successful Nyege Nyege without any issues, as well as 2018. So I'm confident that we'll be able to iron out the same, because we know exactly what is required of us from the government and the people themselves, and we're able to execute it to its fullest.
Okay, so the recommendations from the Ministry of Ethics and Integrity has said that you can go on, but with terms and conditions applying. One of them is restriction of minors into the event and not having 18 and below attending the event. So how do you intend to actually implement that one particular guideline?
So we've requested majority of our revelers to attend the festival with a form of identification, and we'll be actively checking those at the main entrance of the festival to make sure we verify the age limits. And in case of any misunderstanding, we have a security team that will be able to clear all those issues that may arise.
Okay, the question is, with security, like private security, or are you working with the local police?
Yes, both local police and private security. So we're working closely with the police and Ministry of Internal Affairs and Tourism, and definitely enforcing together with the local.
Okay. Andrew, this whole conversation of immorality, our children are being spoiled, they're escaping, they're learning bad things. You have been at this festival, and from your point of view, are there minors at this festival, and has it been the case of immorality?
When Nyege Nyege was new, because of course we were less than 200 people in 2015, during the day, very many of the expatriates that attended actually came with their children, because there was a lot happening. I remember we did gogolo, like improvised gogolo. So like children were doing that literally for much of the time. But of course, as the festival went on growing and changing, the children totally had to leave. So at the moment, in its current form, I cannot say I've seen any minor. But if a minor showed up for a festival, why should we blame the festival and not the parent? Like, I mean, we are a country, we are not a big family where people expect the government to be taking care of their children. I mean, I had people say our children are going to get spoiled. Someone should be at home telling their child not to attend Nyege Nyege if they do not want their child to be at Nyege Nyege.
Maybe they refer to their children. I mean, your father and your mother, you're a child to them, so maybe they're referring to you in that capacity.
Like with the adults,
yeah.
we are taking ourselves there. Today I've been booking a tent, which means this takes thinking and planning.
And spending, and you intentionally do it with all that in mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
You plan a lot for this. Some people are taking small loans to buy a ticket. Those are the children. Like, come on.
Okay, all right, Brenda, so immorality has been at the front of these meetings as they've been held. The last meeting that we saw was with Right Honorable Anita Monk, Speaker of Parliament, still putting immorality at the forefront of why they feel as Parliament, or on behalf of Parliament, Nyege Nyege should be cancelled after all these years. So we want to hear from you, the horse's mouth, what really happens.
Nyege Nyege is a music festival. We're having over 300 artists performing. We have so many other activities happening there, music, dance, there is film this year, we're going to include film. There's going to be a couple of sports adventure that we're going to do. There's food courts, there's a good food experience in Nyege Nyege. People get very innovative with the Rolex. They're putting Nutella in the Rolex. Hey. People get very innovative with food.
Wait, so. on that point, can they do for me a Rolex of Bienda? But
they could. It's amazing, the innovations at Nyege Nyege. So there's the food courts, there's the arts and crafts, there's the pop-up shops. There's so much more to experience at Nyege Nyege.
But one more thing about the whole thing of immorality. The truth is, you cannot police people. Like, remember, you're gathering 8,000 people. Those are 8,000 characters with 8,000 backgrounds. You cannot police all of them. What's indecent to you is very, very, very decent for her. And it's probably not acceptable for me. So that whole thing of guidelines, immorality and everything, we should start with the shows that happen in Kampala, because the way those people dress at those shows, like I'll be at one today and I know the way artists are going to show up on that stage. And
we've had this indecency conversation, dress code conversation for artists previously. And really, the government has not come out to say anything about it. We had a controversial debate many years ago, the miniskirt debate, and it died out. It was never implemented. And so it begs the question that if government is trying to pin Nyege Nyege, why is it not putting that across any other form of arts and culture that is creating an environment of immorality? Anyway, away from that, Brenda, if by any chance this goes under the bridge and it's cancelled, what does that mean?
And we're very confident that we'll be able, we're working it out and the festival will happen.
Okay, all right. So give us the details of the festival, those of them that are preparing for it. How much, when, where, what are the details?
So the festival is taking place September 15th to 18th. at Itanda Falls. Very beautiful venue. Please come see it. We have so much planned for you. The tickets are going right now at 160,000 early bird, which ends on Monday next week. So please grab your ticket today if you can. They will be going at 250 at the gate.
At the gate.
Yes.
Okay. Special activities. I've had film is a special new thing this time.
Yes, we have a dome where we'll be featuring some films, an artistic dome for those films. And then there's a lot of sports adventure you can experience. We have a lot of experiences being set up by our vendors. There's going to be some mechanical bulls. There's going to be so much to do, some massages if you're exhausted. We have a fully stocked health and safety center. We've partnered with the Red Cross in terms of health to make sure that nothing goes beyond our management. There's a lot of pharmacies and clinical support in the festival, so it's all safe. And we have a set of rules and guidelines that we have at the entrance of the festival, so please be sure to read those before you enter the main grounds, because those will be key. And yeah.
Okay, all right. So get your ticket and then also get your ID. Which kind of identifications are you accepting?
For Ugandans.
Does the village one, village card work? Okay.
No, for Ugandans, we appreciate a national ID. For foreigners, we'll take the passports.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much, Brenda Wilson, who is the manager with Talent Africa, and also Andrew Kaggwa, for giving us a different side of this story. While government is highlighting it as one that is going to spoil their children, immorality, the sexual things that are related to this thing, that's what they're choosing to highlight. But Andrew has been there since its inception, 2015, and he attests to it. One social network, as Brenda had alluded to it increases your social network, but it also adds value to the community. I like the story of the man who waits for Nyege Nyege to turn his compound into a parking lot, and that sorts out school fees for the entire year for his children. Now that is impacting community. So at the end of the day, when we look at the positives and the negatives, I think the positives are weighing higher and fatter than the negatives. Therefore, it's definitely a good initiative that is value addition, but more so it's marketing the black, the yellow, the red that we are, which is Uganda. Thank you so much for watching.